Hello everyone, welcome to the Wednesday edition of Take 5. I hope you're having a great week so far. This week on Take 5, we are breaking down the message that I preached Sunday. That message was entitled Finishing Well. We have determined from the scriptures that it's not just about finishing, it's about how we finish. We need to finish every assignment, every season well. And when we do that, then ultimately we'll finish life well also. We talked about one of the kings of Israel yesterday. We talked about Asa. He started well and didn't finish out so well. I want to talk about another king of Israel today. His name was Joash. King Joash is another one that started well but did not finish well. He actually was crowned king when he was 7 years old. There's a very dramatic story that unfolds when you look at what happens there. His father, Ahaziah, ruled until he was 23 years old, and then he was killed. His grandmother then, Athaliah, she wanted the throne. She didn't want any of her children or grandchildren to have the throne. She was a very wicked woman, and she wanted the throne. And so she killed all of her children and all of her grandchildren that might possibly succeed her son Ahaziah, killed all of her family, so that she could have the throne. Now God worked it out so that Joash could be spared, and the high priest Jehoiada's wife stole Joash away when he was but a baby and brought him into the temple, and they adopted him and raised him and hid him there for 6 years. During that period of time, Athaliah ruled, and she established Baal worship and Asherah worship and everything that you can imagine. And when Joash was 7 years old, Jehoiada the priest grew tired of it and said, it's time now for one of the descendants of Ahaziah to be king instead of this evil woman. We will make Joash king. So he spoke with all of the captains of the royal guard, and they gathered hundreds and even thousands of their soldiers together and brought them to the temple. They stood shoulder to shoulder in the temple. Everywhere that young boy Joash went, they went with him. They protected him. They guarded the inner court. They guarded the outer court. They guarded the yard around the temple there. And on a particular day, they crowned Joash, that young 7-year-old lad, they crowned him king. They placed the crown on his head and shouted, God save the king. And when Athaliah, that wicked queen, heard, she came running in the temple. And when she saw what happened, she shouted, treason, treason, treason. Well, Jehoiada had had enough, and he spoke again to the captain of the guard, and he said, carry this woman out, carry her out through the midst of the people, and anyone that follows her in her defense, kill them when you kill her. Man, you talk about drama, there was some right there. And so from that day forward, Joash reigned as king over Judah. 40 years he reigned, and the Bible said he did what was right in the eyes of the Lord. He rebuilt the temple that had been destroyed by his grandmother, and reestablished worship to God instead of Baal worship. And he reestablished prayer to God, and he reestablished obedience to the commands of the Lord. He was an awesome, awesome king. And he was a great king as long as his mentor Jehoiada lived. Well, the day happened when Jehoiada died, and as soon as Jehoiada died, the leaders of Judah came to Joash and persuaded him to begin to listen to them. And because of that, Joash turned around and began to allow the people to worship Baal and Asherah and Moloch and all of the other gods that you could name. And he led Israel right back into the worship of other gods. And he did all of this in his 39th year. Now remember, I told you he reigned 40 years, and 39 years he was a good king, and the last year of his reign, he threw it all away. God sent prophets to warn him, but he didn't want to listen. He was angry with the prophets, and he threw the prophets out, and this angered the Lord, and the Lord sent the Syrian army to attack them. And Syria came in, attacked Judah, destroyed Jerusalem, destroyed the temple, and the temple ends up in shambles just like it did when Joash began to reign. Everything that he accomplished in his reign, everything he did that was good, was all destroyed in the last year that he decided to throw away his legacy and throw away his faith because he was so easily persuaded by outsiders. Hey friend, if you want to finish well, you're going to have to hold fast to God and follow Him every step of the way. We can't afford to be persuaded by people that aren't as zealous for God as we are. So don't let people get you off course. You follow God and follow His Word every step of the way, and I promise you, you will finish the course that He has for your life well. And that's what we're striving to do. Not just finish, but finish well. Hey, tomorrow we're going to talk about another king, King Uzziah. Come on back and join me for that. I look forward to being with you tomorrow on Take 5. Until then, God bless. Have a great day.